What is up, clean freaks and filthy friends alike? Filthy Dan coming at you once again for another film discussion. This time we're going to be taking a look at the 2010 remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street by the Platinum Dunes Company. This came out just a year after their Friday the 13th remake, and like that, this one was originally supposed to take the best elements of the franchise, but instead it went on to just make a loose retelling of the 1984 original film. So, let's jump into Samuel Bayer's A Nightmare on Elm Street. I remember whenever this was getting ready to come out, it was already dividing the fan base of Nightmare on Elm Street, at least at the high school I was going to at the time. And of course, I was not at all of the mind that this was going to be a good film. In fact, I was expecting a hot, steaming load of garbage. However, the dark approach that I saw in the trailers kind of brought my hopes up just a little bit, so that was kind of a positive. Of course, come my first viewing, I hated it. I don't remember exactly if I hated it for being a remake, or if I hated it because it was just a genuinely bad film. Although I didn't like it, I do remember I did appreciate the darker tone it took. I liked the way Jackie Earle Haley portrayed Freddy, but his look, while I appreciated the attempt to make it look more like a real burn victim, I did not like the fact that it was computer generated and it made him look like a sun-dried cat turd. And on the opposite end, like outside of the opening kill, I pretty much feel that everything else in the film fell flat. Now, have my thoughts changed about the film over the last 10 years? Well, as I said before, it's a loose retelling of the original film. It changes some of the characters' names and many of the story beats. I'm not really a fan of some of the decisions they made as far as that goes. I wasn't a fan of the fact that Freddy was openly a pedo at this point. It was made worse with the did he or did he not do it mystery that they tried to throw in there to confuse the audience. In fact, that only pissed me off a little more. Despite that, I still did enjoy Jackie Earle Haley's darker, more serious take on Freddy. It's not as quippy as the dream killer we've come to know and love over the years. But he did make the role his own, and I still mostly like him in the role. The rest of the cast have performances that range from I could take it or leave it to just get off the screen. Rooney Mara particularly, I did not like her performance. It reminded me of a really bad school play performance, but I guess it plays well whenever her version of Nancy starts to get sleep deprived. And everyone else was mostly forgettable in here. I mean, it was cool to see Clancy Brown, but he wasn't in there long enough to really be enjoyed for me. I also find myself mostly underwhelmed with the CGI that they used in this film on the whole, especially again for the look of Freddy. When they have him come through the wall, that looked like crap. When he's coming out of the building on fire, he looked like crap. Also, I don't know why, but they try to recreate moments from the original just for the sake of recreating them. Namely, again, Freddy coming through the wall, the glove coming out of the bathtub, and the body being dragged down the hallway. Of course, the Tina death scene is recreated, and a lot of it's just underwhelming. And it's almost as if they're throwing that in here for the sake of being like, hey, you remember 1984 Elm Street? Well, we're doing that. Yeah, this one missed the bar. This is also over-reliant on jump scares rather than genuine scares. There's no real payoff to a lot of the attempts of fear and tension that they try and provide. And the reusing of old Freddy lines was just kind of meh for me. Like, they threw a few classic Freddy quips in there. It's whatever. Also, you would think at least a handful of the team cast would have remembered each other from the backstory provided here. Like with the all the repressed memories and shit, you would think with the amount of kids, at least one or two of them would have been like, "Hey, I kind of remember y'all." It's kind of funny how they all start to remember and dream about Freddy around the same time. Um, I still thought it was cool that they all knew each other though, so it was different. But I still didn't like the angle they went with Freddy. But I don't know, it's all a bunch of take it or leave it for this film, honestly. The parents are bad fucking liars when it comes to the past of their children. Like when Nancy's asking her mom about, do I know these kids, and the look on her face, like you could totally tell she's lying. It's like, oh my god, you're trying to make it a mystery, you're trying to make it a suspenseful little piece for the audience. That didn't work. The inclusion of micronaps was actually pretty cool. If you've ever been like a Dave's, like been sleep deprived for like a whole day, you kind of already know that crazy sensation. Like I've gotten 24 hours up once before, and like I was starting to feel like crap. I could only imagine 70 hours, which is what they start experiencing in here with the micronaps and shit. You start to get a little delirious. I like how they threw that in here. Uh, for the most part, there's zero subtlety during the reality turn to dream sequences in this film. Um, and it's also blaringly obvious that the visuals in the dream sequences are just being thrown in there to go as outlandish and over the top as possible, just to serve as eye candy and nothing more. But it does kind of display Bayer's music video directing sensibility, because that's what he had done before he did this. Yeah, the dream sequences really do nothing for me in this film. They're just basically overhyped music video shorts without the music. Glorified music videos. Like the fourth film, this is, as you can tell, probably one of the more frustrating entries for me. I really want to like it more than I do. But aside from the things I complained about, there's still something with this film that doesn't really sit right with me. And like I've already complained a little bit about it. But yeah, there's still some things that I just can't catch on with this film. Some things I like, some things I don't. It was cool to see Freddy getting burnt to death. So especially cool to see considering the type of character he is in here. But the effect looked like shit, so, you know. This one does recycle the last scare from the original film by having Nancy's mom getting killed. Like, this time Freddy comes out of a mirror, stabs her in the back of the head, and pulls her into the mirror, and the glass just kind of comes back. Really shitty CGI. Of course, that was to be expected. They kill Freddy, and you know, okay, yeah, there's the false ending, and then there's going to be the real ending. So you're expecting that last scare, but I still think the shitty CGI kill tacked on in this one, I still think it looks better than the fucking obvious blow up doll that they used in the first one. Yeah, that's really all I have to say about the film. So let's just move on, get this thing over with. Favorite kill in this film, I really like the opening kill. It was cool to see the dude slash his own throat while in his dream he's just trying to fight off Freddy. That was a pretty cool little bit. And the death was just awesome. Just the knife going deep into his throat, that deep gash slowly across. I dug that. Smutty sightings. Yeah, there's nothing to talk about on that. So moving on to favorite dream on this one. I don't know. I guess I like how Nancy's bathtub dream was done. You would expect that they kind of recreated the first one, where he actually pulls her under the tub, just the way that you see the glove come out, reaching at her, and you think, oh, they're just gonna redo the one from the first film, yada yada. But no, she gets out of the tub, walks out of the bathroom, and holy shit, she's in a little field of snow. Like that was a cool little misdirection, so I'll give it credit for that. I also like the dream of the equivalent of Rod. I forget his name in this. That dream is pretty cool too. Where he's they come in and say, "Oh, your folks posted your bail. Let's get out of here." I guess that was pretty cool also. So toss up between those two. As I said in the last one, there's no Bob Shea this time around. Freddy's quips. They're kind of average here. I kind of like the I was just petting him. When you see him with the dead dog, that one was alright. I do like the little scientific thing he does when he's killing the Rod character this time. He says something about him. After the heart stops beating, the brain still functions for 7 minutes. We got 6 minutes to play. That was pretty neat. But I might have to just go with the altered version of the God line from the first film, where he's walking in his dream and he's like, "Oh my God." Freddy walks up behind him. "No, it's just me." It was kind of a respectful way to pay tribute to Robert Englund there. So they could have just totally reused the line, but he's like, "Nah, it's just me." So acknowledging that Robert Englund's Freddy is still the god of this universe. And in closing, this again is just a frustrating entry. I don't hate it outright, but I mean, in fact, I kind of like it better than some of the later Elm Street films that Robert did. I certainly really wouldn't recommend it to anyone. It's easily worth skipping. It's not for everyone, and it might honestly be the most polarizing in the whole franchise. And again, I would never recommend this to anybody. It's just there. If anyone asks, did they ever remake it? Be like, yeah. Just kind of point in the general direction. I don't give it any endorsement. Oh, yeah. This is the last Elm Street review that I'm doing. There will be a ranking video coming soon. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Was the Nightmare on Elm Street remake a hit or a miss for you? Stay filthy.